Salutations all. So the holidays are upon us. The Food Olympics, the Indigenous Doomsday, the I swear it's the last time I'm going to eat like this, then I'm going to lose that 20 pounds before summer, whatever. Whatever you call it, I hope that you're enjoying it. I hope that you're being as safe as you possibly can. And I hope you don't blame me for the amount of portions that you eat, because I'm not there. I didn't make your plate. I can't control what you're doing. I don't know what your situation is. Anyway, so today, the adventure we're going to get into, we're going to make a little apple cobbler. We're going to do it 2 ways, all right? Process is going to be a little bit different. The results are always the same. Deliciousness. And I'm keeping those in mind who are fighting the diabetes. Yes, the sugar. All right? So we're going to do 2 different things here. We're going to go over all of our ingredient lists. We're going to go over some tools that might make this a little easier for you. Then we're going to chow down. Y'all ready to get into this adventure? Let's go. So let's look at some of the tools that we have here that are going to help us to complete this dish. If you've got them, outstanding. If you don't, no big deal. All right? So we have an apple core, right? Pretty straightforward. You get this pretty much anywhere, Walmart, Target, even the dollar store should have one of these for you. Outstanding tool. We have one of these and a nice sharp knife. Going to get the same results. You want to step up your technology a little bit, save a little more time. Boom. I mean, it slices, it doesn't dice, but it will take the core out for you. This is the apple slicer. Same thing. You can get this pretty much anywhere that you have groceries, okay? So, if you're really, really fancy, all right, and you're brave, then boom. So this is called a mandolin, all right? This is a razor-sharp blade on a sled. It is outstanding and honestly one of the only items in the kitchen that still makes me nervous, okay? So most of the time when you buy these, it will come with a little safety handle here, a little safety slide, and we'll get in on how to use this. I use this for my traditional cobbler, which my mom says I can't call a cobbler, but I'm grown now. And it slices. It is outstanding. So we'll get into this and the safety aspects of that in just a moment. So that's the tool side of what you're going to want to use today. If you don't have it, again, not a big deal. Just get it popping with a regular knife, right? Our grandparents did it forever, all right? So on the ingredients list, you're going to want some butter, okay? If you're doing a smaller portion, a half a pound of butter. I know it seems like a lot. I promise you it's not. We're going to do a half a pound of butter. In this breakout today, we're going to be making a sauce as well. All right, so we're going to do a little wild turkey and pecan sauce to go on top of it. Again, not necessary. For those that are dealing with the issues of sugar and diet, you know, they do make a lot of different variations of products out there that are good for you, that you know, will help you to stay within your limits and still be able to enjoy food. Monk fruit sugar is one that I know a lot of people use. It's keto friendly, good for the diabetics. So what we're using today is a brand called Swerve. All right. And the reason that I went with them is because they have regular sugar and they have brown sugar. Okay. And I use both in my recipe. Granulated white sugar as well as the brown sugar. So again, Swerve brand is what we're going to be using today. You're going to want to use a little cornstarch. All right. We've got some cinnamon and a little bit of nutmeg over here as well. And then, of course, we've got apples. Now, I personally like to use Honeycrisp, Fuji, Gala apples. But again, it's all about personal preference. Keep in mind, though, if you use a more tart apple like a Granny Smith, which is a traditional baking apple, the amount of sugar, butter, and vanilla, I didn't forget about the vanilla over here, is going to increase depending on how bitter or how tart, let me not say bitter, how tart you want that dessert to be. I like apples. I do not care for them to be extremely tart. So I push with a little more vanilla and a little more butter in my dishes. But it's all up to you. All right, so let's get into this. Okay, so for some of our first timers out there, some of my young ones that are finding themselves enjoying the kitchen, we're going to go over our tools first, okay? We're going to go over our tools and the safety of them. We're going to start off with the core. Obviously, pretty straightforward. You're just going to find that center right over the stem. You push that bad boy in there, okay? You're going to push it all the way down in there. Give it a little twist. You see it starts popping out of the bottom there. Pull it out. Bam, the whole core is out of there. So crazily easy, all right? Now, same with this. Pretty hard to hurt yourself with that, but I've known some interesting people. So, same concept, right? You're going to put that hole right there, right over where the stem goes. You're going to push down with all your might. Boom. we've got an awesome blossom apple right there. Alright, so again, very, very simple, very, very easy. If you don't have either one of these, then again, just use a nice sharp knife. Take your time. Alright, now, the beast in the kitchen. This in here, mandolin. Alright, for the most part, all the mandolins are structured pretty much the same. Read the instructions, please, on whichever one that you get if you do get one. Take your time so you do not lose a finger, because it will very quickly take a finger off. Alright, so on here you've got a couple different dials, right? On this one we've got some different blades here. If we wanted to do, you know, julienne or shredded something or other, that's what that dial is for. And the other one is for adjusting the blade on top. Okay, actually adjust the bed that it slides on, not necessarily the blade. And you can adjust that to varying heights. Now, when I use the mandolin, I don't even core my apples. Yep, I said it. We eat everything. Because I cut them so thin that it all cooks away, and it's just no waste there. Okay, we pull the seeds out once we're going through the process. But very, very simple. So you're going to take it, you're going to find where you want it set on your thickness, and you just slide it down. That easy. Alright, now like I said, when I cut them on the mandolin, we make them crazy thin. Because we're going to pile these up and let them cook down. The result is it's just a different texture versus having the traditional one with good chunks of apple in it, and the cobbler and the pie, depending on what you're making. It kind of is more almost like a strudel, the way that these cook down. So very, very, very thin. Alright? Alright, now let's get into the mixing. So, for everyone except for my normal kitchen guys, because I know you didn't miss the part about the liquor, we're going to start off with our sauce. So again, I'm going to use wild turkey because we're going to do a pecan wild turkey sauce for this. I think it pairs very, very well with the apples. And we're going whole bottle. Whole shebang-a-bang. What we're going to do is we're going to get this on the stove with a little sugar in it, and we're going to reduce this until it becomes a syrup. So you're going to get all that flavor. We're going to burn off the majority of that alcohol, and you're going to get a nice, delicious treat for all the lushes in the I mean, all of our relatives that are coming in that want to enjoy this as well. So we've got one full-size bottle here, the, what is that, 750s size bottle, 750 milliliter bottle. Alright, we're going to go 1 full cup of sugar. Boom, boom, alright. We're going to get this bad boy on the stove. Now we do not want to necessarily boil this, so we want to get it on about a medium, low to medium heat, and we want it to just simmer and take its time and cook down nice. You want to keep an eye on that so it doesn't crystallize along the sides and start burning your sugar. You give it a stir every now and then. We're going to go ahead and get that started so it'll be going nicely as we finish up the rest of our dish. Okay? So we're going to start off with the more traditional look of a cobbler. Shebang. Alright, now this is 5 pounds of apples. 5 pounds of apples right here. Took a little bit of time and a lot of work, but I didn't lose any fingers. Alright, so we've got our apple sliced up. We're going to get another small bowl over here and start mixing up the goods that go in it. Okay. Now, for this one, we're going to go with the regular sugars, regular brown sugar, regular granulated sugar, and all that shebang-a-bang. So, this is going to seem like a lot. Keep in mind, this is 5 pounds of apples right here, right? So, we're going to go 1 cup of regular sugar. Actually, we're going to do 1.5. And we're going to do 1.5 cups of brown sugar as well. See, I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to measure for you guys. I know I don't normally do that in my videos, and for that I do apologize. So let's see here. Make sure when you're doing the brown sugar, you're not packing that down into that cup or whatever it is that you're using to measure it. You want to get as accurate as possible, okay? And if you wrap up your brown sugar when you're done using it, little saran wrap, little plastic wrap it up really nice and tight, fold over those edges. It won't dry out on you, okay? Alright, so we've got the sugars there, and then we're going to go with the cornstarch. What is the cornstarch for? Remember we've talked about making slurries and making roux and things to tighten up our sauces. Well, as we cook these apples down, obviously they're going to release their natural juices. And we're going to want to tighten that sauce so we don't have a runny cobbler. We want that sauce to be nice and thick-alicious. So we're going to go with a half a cup of cornstarch into there as well. Alright. Then we're going to get in here, we're going to mix this all up, and then we're going to get it mixed into our apples and start our cooking process. Alright, so we've got the sugar and cornstarch mixture ready to go, all mixed up nice and neat. We've got our pan, my trusted cast iron on the stove, getting nice and hot, and we're just going to start hitting these apples with this mix. Now once you get the sugar in there, get it mixed around, you're going to want to let these apples sit for 3 to 5 moments. That's all it takes. Just me? Just me? Nobody else got that? Alright, so you're going to let them sit for 3 to 5 moments. And what happens is the sugar starts to draw out a lot of the juices, the natural juices of the apple. Call this maceration. Alright? Get them nice and coated. And you're like, Lucky, but what about the cinnamon? What about the nutmeg? We're going to get to that. Simmer down. Simmer down. Alright. As you can see, I have not used that entire mix, right? I have not used that entire mix quite yet. Alright. So we've got these mixed up. We're going to let them sit for about 5 minutes. Then we're going to get into the cooking. Alright, so we got my pan nice and hot here. Something I wanted to note as well. You actually don't have to cook these apples off. You know, you can get the mixture in there. You can go right into whatever dish that you're cooking in. Throw your cobbler crust on top and let it go. I just do this to speed along the cooking process. Now for the cobbler crust as well, cobbler crust is very easy to make. You can find a lot of very simple recipes online. Also, you can buy it pre-made. You can buy the mixes or you add water. So a lot of options for the cobbler crust, and we'll get a little more into that here in just a moment. So we got our apples ready. They've been sitting for a little bit, starting to juice up nice for me. Got a nice glistening. All right, we're gonna go right into our pan. Oh man, that's a lot of fruit right there. Now, all we're really trying to do with these is kind of heat these apples all the way through. Release a little more of those natural juices. So the amount of time obviously is going to depend on you, your stove, and your equipment. So I really can't tell you a time. I would just say as the tips of the apples start to get a little more translucent, probably within about, I would say a guesstimate, maybe 5 minutes or so. You can really go far with this and let the juices and almost stew these apples if you like. I like for mine to have a little extra bite to them though when we're building it, so I don't let them go too far or get too soft on me. Alright, so we're going to let these start going, and we're going to take our half a pound of butter that I've sliced up here, just throw it right on top. Obviously, it will melt itself down into those apples deliciously. Okay. And we're also going to go in with a half a cup of vanilla. And that is a lot of vanilla. So, it is okay to use an imitation vanilla. Right now, regular vanilla prices, it's like, it's Coke price. It's crazy. Vanilla is crazily expensive. Having a really nice, organic even, vanilla is outstanding. But at the end of the day, your guests can't tell the difference between regular vanilla and the imitation. Okay? So you see over here, we've got the sauce going. The wild turkey, it's a very, very light bubble. Just a very light little bubbles going on there. Like I said, we do not want a rolling boil taking place with that. Please don't mind my trash. Don't judge me. Alright. So like I said, we're going to cook these apples down a little bit. While these are cooking down, I'm going to go ahead and slice up some of the apples for the layered cobbler, and then we'll get back to it. Okay, so our apples have cooked down to where we want them. In the process of the cooking, we hit these with a nice solid tablespoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of nutmeg. Alright. And you're going to want to make sure you taste it as you're cooking it. You know, the sauce is building up. You'll see it as we get it out of the pan here. So we get a nice sauce there. Oh, I hate the white. Get a nice little sauce there. That is crazily hot. I don't know why I did that. Buttery. I mean, super buttery. It's almost like caramel. You got the tartness of the apples in there. It is delicious already. Alright, so we're going to get this into our pan. Make it a big one. You can see the glaze, the glisten of that sauce. Go right in there like that. 5 pounds of apples. Didn't make as much as you thought it was going to make once you start cooking that liquid off, huh? We got to get all that sauce. We can't waste that. We might put that on our skin later, huh, Max? Yeah, buddy. I heard it keeps you from aging. I mean, that could be a wives' tale. I don't know. All right. So we got that in. Remember that leftover sugar that we talked about? That leftover mixture, you thought to yourself, oh, he's really not going to use it all. I feel so much better. Don't. We're going to use it. We're going to go right in on top with our cobbler dough. I like to keep mine frozen for this process just to help keep from burning. And the next step that I do, again, very easy. I like to hit it with a little bit of oil, little oil spray, little vegetable spray. Just like such. Then I'm going to take the rest of my sugar mixture, sprinkle that right on top, coat it really, really nice. And that gives you that really nice caramelized, sweet, crunchy crust. It's the reason that on this next one, why I started layering. Because we all have that family member or that friend that shows up and like hits the peach cobbler at the barbecue, scrapes all the crust off like a giant douche so the rest of us can't have any. Sorry. So the point is, when we do the layered one, it makes it so that everyone can get some of that delicious crust. Nobody has to fight each other or be banned from family events moving forward. So we're going to sugar that up real nice. We're going to set this one aside, and we're going to start building our next one. So we've got our apples sliced up really nicely here. Like I said before, we do them really thin, really thin. They'll basically melt away as they cook. We've got our sugar-free sugar mix right here with the cornstarch in. Alright, steady long, steady raw. Now, same process, right? Except that we're not going to go in with the sugar on this one. What we're going to do is we're going to go in with our vanilla. So the measurements of the ingredients are the same. It's 5 pounds of apples. That's our half cup of vanilla. Just want to toss those apples around in there like that. Try not to tear them up too much. Alright, we'll put this over here. Get into our small pan. Okay. Now, the dough for this, I always cook off. So here's some dough that we've already cooked. We use the raw for the other one because it's going on the top. We use the cooked for this just to give it a chance. It's going to be absorbing so much liquid. We don't want it to become a goo in there. So we're going to force that down in there. Okay. And then you just go in with your apples, start laying them out. If you're one of those people that's a little OCD and everything has to be symmetrical, then by all means take your time, count out how many slices, weigh them out, whatever makes you feel good inside and helps you sleep, weirdo. So we're going to get a really good solid layer. Remember, because these apples are so thin, when they cook, it's going to reduce, it's going to shrink down. So you want to go heavy on your layers. Heavier than you think you should, okay? There's nothing wrong with excess when it comes to fruit. I know no doctor that says, you know what, you really need to slow down your fruit intake. It's a little bit troubling, okay? So we're going to go heavy on that first layer. A lot of apples to go through here. Then we hit it with our sugar mix. Good globule handfuls there. Hit it with my sugar. My cinnamon and nutmeg are mixed into this as well. So if you're wondering when that comes in, I went ahead and mixed it in there. Boom. We'll come back with another round of the cobbler, which I'm breaking terribly. There we go. Imperfect perfection, I'd say. And remember, we're going to layer this high because it is going to cook down. So it's alright if it spills out to begin with. It will be okay. Boom, boom, boom. Set our last layer down here. Coming back in with those apples, man. And you don't have to cook off all 3 layers. You can still sugar that top layer like we did with the first one. If you really want to get that result, no big deal. I've got the oven set to 375. Alright, you can go 350. I go 375 because, again, with the other apples, they're already pretty much cooked through. So at this point, I am just trying to finish those off a bit and get a nice golden crispiness to that cobbler crust. And with this one, I mean, you really are just heating it through. These apples are so thin, so paper thin, that it takes nothing as far as time to get those cooked up. Alright, now if you've got a really nice fancy convection oven, that's the oven with the fans, you're going to want to be careful on your temperatures because the rules don't necessarily apply to you. Convection ovens typically will cook a little faster, a little hotter because of that hot air that's moving through. Alright, so this is our other half pound of butter. You can layer it throughout if you like. You can go right on that top layer. It's all going to melt down and get down in there and be delicious anyway. Remember, we do have the cornstarch in this one as well, so that'll help to tighten up that sauce. I apologize. It'll help to tighten up that sauce, going through that as well. And then we're going to try to get this last layer on without tearing it up if I can. Nope, I can't. I can't. Inefficient. Okay, get that situated. Boom. Alright, perfect imperfections. Okay, so we're going to go into the oven. Like I said, I've got the oven set at 375. By the time that the other one, the dough, is done on this one will be nice and dark. We're not going to hit it with the sugar. We've already baked this one off. You can if you like. So they might cook differently. You're just going to want to keep an eye on them while they're in there. And then by the time that these are done, I would say give it about 15 minutes. Start it off that way. You can always add more time. You cannot take away burnt. Alright, so we're going to go in for about 15 minutes. We'll give it a check. By that time, I hope that our sauce is nice and thick and ready to go. Alright. We still have a little bit of time left on our cobblers, but I want to go back and revisit that sauce. Might have forgot about that, right? So I want to also point out, we use a whole 750 milliliter bottle, right? We're going to reduce that and make a sauce. We reduced it by about half, a little over half. The more sauce that you need to make, obviously the more liquid you're going to need to start off with because we're reducing, right? We're evaporating. So if you don't want to spend that much or you don't need that much alcohol for the dish, you can always cheat. There's always a cheat. So you'll go in with your sugar, you'll go in with your alcohol, you'll let that cook down till you're comfortable with the level of the alcohol content in it. You can always hit it with a slurry. We've talked about that a couple times, right? A little cornstarch and cold water mixed together. You can tighten that sauce right up at any level. See if you can kind of see that. So it's real syrupy. As it cools, obviously, it's going to be a little more thick. It'll thicken up on us a little bit more as well. You can always go in with more cornstarch once you've got it boiling too. But we just wanted to reduce it. We're going to let this cool. It's almost a caramel. Not quite, a little runny, right? We're going to let this cool, and we're going to go into this sauce with our pecans, our chopped pecans. So as I got to the thickness of the sauce that I wanted, I hit it with about 2 ounces of butter. It gives it a really nice shine, right? That soul glow right there. You like that? And then we're going to go right in. Now these are smaller pecans, so I don't actually have to chop these down. These are just little pieces. And again, I use this because I really feel like it complements the sauce, the wild turkey, as well as the apples. If you have a nut allergy, obviously, we're going to leave those out, but you can still do the sauce. So we're going to let this sit and cool and give it a few more minutes on our cobblers and put it all together. Alright, so our cobblers are done. We ended up with a little more than we actually need. Not sure what we're going to do with that one there. Maybe we'll donate it or something to the needy. Everybody needs little sweets during the holiday. So we got that nice crust. Let's get in on that. Can you hear this? That sugar caramelizes real nice. It makes a nice, delicious crust. Try to get some of that sauce there. So this is fresh out. Sorry, that's a trigger warning for some. So this sauce is still a little bit runny. But as it cools, that will tighten up really, really nicely. Just to show you how that works, let's go back over here. So we added our pecans to our wild turkey. Alright, let it soak up some of that delicious sauce. Look at that. I mean, just touch yourself just a little bit, just for me. Alright, And, you know, after I got done defending your freedoms on Call of Duty, I decided we also needed to go ahead and whip up some whipped cream. So we did a little bit of cinnamon whipped cream to go along with that. Now, this is not staying at my house. I wouldn't do this to myself. You know, I'm trying to get into my summer swimsuit, girl. And I put this into a nice plastic container. This is microwave safe. I would not reheat this sauce in the microwave if you can avoid it. The microwave has a tendency to cook it up a little hard. So what I would do is you can put that sauce, if you're not serving it straight up warm, you know, right out of the oven, I'd put that sauce in something that you can put into some water in a pot and heat that slow and get that back up. Because once it's fully cooled, it's going to be a pretty nice and tacky brick inside of this container here. Alright, so we're going to get this packed up. We're going to take it to the relatives. So that's it, everybody. Hopefully you enjoy this. I will do my best to give you actual measurements moving forward. I'm sorry, it's just a really, really bad habit of mine. You know, we don't really measure in the kitchen. So let me know how it turns out. Shoot me your pictures. Let me see how it is. Give me your comments, what you think on that taste. What's the next adventure? I don't know. What are you hungry for? Let me know. See you guys.